Cualquier lugar donde uno va, uno se encuentra con el discrimen, con la injusticia, con el machismo, con la xenofobia. Yo fui a Nueva York con aquella señora que está allá atrás hace unos meses y osé decir unas palabras que se convirtieron luego en ejemplos de discriminación. Dije, take me to the Bronx. El taxista no nos quiso llevar al Bronx. Y nos bajó, and I was on the front page of the Daily News. Decía, kick to the curb. Y piensen lo que es mirar la injusticia desde una experiencia diferente. And it doesn't matter if you're in San Juan or if you're in New York, we have to all look past every small act of discrimination to make a better life for one another. But when I said take me to the Bronx, and that man kicked us out, and then the second one, when I said take me to the Bronx, he said you should have told me because I don't go there. What became a shout and scream for equal rights in New York and a visible act of discrimination, in Puerto Rico it was a joke. People took it as a joke. Until I was interviewed one morning by the Sánchez. And I said, you know, Ruben, this may be a joke here, but for every Puerto Rican, Dominican, even people of Anglo-Saxon descent that live in the Bronx, and that want to work together to move things forward, it is not a joke. It is the reality that they have to face on a daily basis. Because if you don't take me to the Bronx, you're not taking me to my house. And if you don't take me to my house, I don't have the ability to have the family that I want, to live where I want, or to work where I want, or to go to school or get my degree, my education, my medical services. So those four words, take me to the Bronx, for us at the municipality have become a symbol of how things have to be looked at from the standpoint of the person that is going through the experience. Lo que en Puerto Rico es un chiste, allá fue una situación muy seria. Y los periodistas se me acercaban y me decían, mira, alcaldesa, a mí me ha pasado eso. A mí no me han querido llevar a mi casa. Son realidades diferentes, con una misma acción. Pero nosotros aquí tenemos que aprender que la realidad de las luchas que ustedes dan en Estados Unidos nos afectan a nosotros. Because if one of us is left behind, we don't go that much further. Así que en los últimos años, y de esto Ana Araceli puede hablar mucho más que yo, no porque ella tenga más años que yo, sino que tiene más experiencia que yo. Pero en los últimos años, la diáspora puertorriqueña ha sido una voz importante y fuerte para traer atención y magnificar. You have truly been the megaphone of our souls. You have amplified everything we feel. And you have done it in a different way. Yo viví en Estados Unidos 12 años. Hice mi bachillerato en Boston University. I got my master's at Carmen Yulín University. I got married and had my daughter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I worked for the federal government, the Department of the Treasury. I worked for Westinghouse. And I lived in a very nice place called Bethel Park. Bethel Park is at the outskirts of Pittsburgh. So when I became pregnant and I started asking around for schools, somebody told me, well, go to that school over there and you have a waiting list. I walked in and no one resembled anything that I was accustomed to. My daughter's father is from India. So I said, you know what, I don't want my daughter to have one view of the world. So I decided that my daughter was going to be bused into the inner city. There was a 2-year waiting period, so by the time that she would be 2, I went through the entire situation. And I had this experience which has forever shown me how different one can be amongst people. The census came around, house to house, and there was a whole separate section for Puerto Rico. An entire section just for Puerto Ricans. Because it seems like we are neither here nor there. I often say sometimes I'm too Puerto Rican to live in the States and too American to live in Puerto Rico. La gente dice que tú eres rock, yo vamos al grano, vamos al grano. Es like que los americanos tienen una reunión y they go to the point. Very little questions. Let's get the job done. Well, we need about half an hour before starting the meeting because we have to know how everyone at home is. I don't care if I don't know these 3 young ladies. If we were at a meeting, I was going to find out their age, what their likes and dislikes are, where they're going to school. That's who we are. It doesn't mean we're less nor more. It's who we are. So there came the time to be married. And I got married at night court. That should have told me something. Night court. And when that was my first marriage. I've had a few since. And they said, okay, name, color-wise, blah, 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 race. And I remember said, I'm Puerto Rican. No, you have to be either black or white. And I said, no, I'm Puerto Rican. No, lady, you don't understand. You have to be black or white. I said, well, you know what? My great-grandmother was black. Her husband was white. So what does that make me? And he looked at me and he said, that makes you black. I said, okay. Right black. I'm not going to fight you. And then he looks at my husband at the time, who is Indian, and he said, and you're white. Wow. And I said, wait a minute. How come he's white and I'm, because you're Puerto Rican? Oh. That's what he said, because you're Puerto Rican. That's the way it is. At that time, I was in love. So I didn't want to argue. But the same thing happened to me, and that poor lady back there almost died. Compi, because she always says that she gets stopped at the airport. So we were coming back from Uruguay, and I had filled out my paper to come back into the States. Right? It says nationality, and I said, Compi, nationality, and she said, no, yo voy a poner americana porque yo no quiero problemas. Si tú te quieres quedar ahí, te quedas. Yo puse Puerto Rican. Citizenship, U.S. It's 4 in the morning. We're zooming in. There's nobody at the Miami airport. Lady, they stop her and they look at her luggage and everything, and I'm like, and the guy looked at me and said, this form is filled incorrect. And I said, why? His name was Diaz. You say here that your nationality is Puerto Rican, but your citizenship is the U.S. Yes. Pues entonces usted es americano. No. See, she's already at the other side, and I'm behind. I'm right here, and she's looking at me like, oh no. This is our press director, so I'm sure she's thinking, oh the hell. Si por americana usted quiere decir que yo vivo en las Américas, you're right. And he says, no, I mean that you are an American. I said, no, I am Puerto Rican. Well, how can you be American and have Puerto Rican and be in U.S. citizenship? I said, well, it all started in 1890. The entire party that was with me are already on the other side of the border. And you know, I'm saying, pues tiene que cambiar la forma. Yo no lo voy a cambiar porque yo soy boricua. ¿Cómo? Boricua. So the guys that going back and forth, these people are going. And finally he said, look, you know, he's behind the camera. Usted es la alcaldesa de San Juan, ¿verdad? And I said, yes. And he said, I'm not arguing with you. But this is the duality of the reality we live in. So it's no wonder we sometimes get confused. The one thing we're not confused about is where our heart is. Por eso los boricuas viven en el Bronx y se van a la Marqueta a bailar salsa el sábado con la noche. Por eso uno viene año tras año y regresa a su casa. Por eso uno recuerda de manera intacta las memorias que lo hacen a uno quien uno es. Literalmente, y reconociendo el respeto que tenemos que tener hacia todas las naciones. Yo no quisiera ser otra cosa que no fuera puertorriqueño. Punto. No puertorriqueña primero y puertorriqueña segundo y algo, no, puertorriqueña. Porque literalmente lo que a mí me hace latir el corazón no es lo mismo que le hace latir el corazón a los australianos ni a los venezolanos. ¿Cuántos aquí se han enamorado en inglés? ¿Está bien? ¿Cuántos aquí se han enamorado en español? I love you is the same for your father, for your husband, for your lover, for your child, for your dog. Te aprecio, te estimo, te amo, te quiero, te adoro. ¿Te parece que han dicho eso alguna? En noche caliente porque se emocionaron los dos. 50 años de casado. Sí. Yo nunca voy a cumplir 50 años. Porque así somos. Y toda esa gama de sentimientos lo que dice son los diferentes matices que tenemos. Somos de diferentes colores, somos de diferentes religiones, somos de diferentes creencias ideológicas. Pero somehow, it doesn't matter where you are or who you are. If there's a Puerto Rican flag and someone sings Verdeluz, oh, our heart will melt. Yes. I don't care who you are or where you are. So here's our conundrum. We have this wonderful country which has a lot of financial difficulties. At the municipality, we have been blessed We have managed our money correctly, and we have gone from a deficit to a surplus. We are the first municipality that has given the employees the right to collective bargaining in all of Puerto Rico. We have been able to give a raise to our employees 2 years in a row, and 1 to non-union employees. We have reconnected the ties of San Juan with our friends in the Americas and in the Caribbean. We have lowered the crime, even though we have had a spike in crime this year, but we're still 30% less in crime than we were at 2012. We have used our culture and sports as a tool for economic development and social development, but we have a different financial reality in San Juan. But therein, a country who many through generations considered a partner, who many through generations considered an equal partner, all of a sudden does 2 things that are almost impossible to think of. One, they keep one of ours in jail for 35 years, Oscar Lopez Rivera, for a philosophical crime. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't steal anything. He didn't hurt. And this from a president that wrote the preface in a book about Nelson Mandela, whom we all recognize his value and his valiant effort to show humanity, not South Africa, humanity, that we are all the same. But a man that admitted in court to bombing and destroying public property. So 256 drug dealers came out of jail 2 weeks ago. Close to 1,000 in the last 4 years. And one of our own remains 35-year and counting in a federal prison for a crime he did not commit. And here comes the fiscal control. It is a savage act of colonialism. And I know that is painful to hear, and believe me, it is painful to say. But if you are in your home and you cannot make any decisions, what does that make? If the shackles of bondage can be emotional, physical, financial, are not broken, what does that make you? The Fiscal Control Board is sovereign, and it says it that way, it's sovereign over any decision that the governor makes, that the legislature makes, or that any public official makes. If a legislation is passed that they don't consider it appropriate, they give the legislatures 30 days to do what they want, or they can do it themselves. What does that make that board? They can take our natural resources and sell them for profit. Literally, they can take el yunque and sell it. They can take el morro and sell it. They can make decisions as to whether we should fire public employees. They can take the retirement funds of the people that have worked their life to build the same Puerto Rico that we walk on, and can use it to pay the hedge funds. It's right there on the piece of legislation. What does that make that fiscal control? And the worst thing is they ask us to inflict pain on ourselves. They give the governor of Puerto Rico the potential of lowering minimum wage from $7.15 to $4.25 an hour. So what I don't understand is you've all seen the tweets and the Facebook and the plight of the union movement in the United States talking about a living wage. And they mark it as $15 an hour. So if $15 an hour is a living wage, what is $4.25 an hour? That's a slave wage. And I know it is painful. And believe me, I thank God every day that my grandmother, who was from the generation that said, el Estado Libre Asociado es una cosa extraordinaria. It was. It's not. Because anything that allows somebody else to come into your house and tell you exactly what you're going to do is not worth anything. So what does that make us if we don't fight? Now, there are people that are confusing the issues. They think because some politicians haven't done their jobs, because governments haven't done their jobs, that the Fiscal Control Board is a good thing. Pues yo les pregunto a ustedes, ¿hay gente que maltratan a niños y niñas? So are we going to ban women from giving birth because of that? ¿Hay gente que maltratan animales? So what are we going to do? We're not going to allow anyone to have a pet because of that? Hay gente que mata a otra gente. We put them in jail. But what are we going to do then? We're not going to allow human contact because some of them do what we're not supposed to do? Or are we going to fight and resist? And you can resist in a very nice way. No resiste cuando uno levanta el teléfono y llama a su congresista y le dice, you know what? You want my vote in the United States. Earn it. Don't take my vote for granted. Here you come, Mrs. Clinton. You want my vote? Earn it. Open your mouth and say you're going to free Oscar Lopez Rivera. It's very simple. You either commit or you don't. Very simple. When they wanted to move towards the west, they did it, right? They didn't ask the Native Americans, I'm sorry, could we just walk through here? We'll just take some of your gold and move on. No? And the thing that bugs me the most is that the United States is a great nation. Yo soy soberanista. Yo creo en la soberanía del pueblo de Puerto Rico. Pero el pueblo americano tiene unas características que son admirables. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men, and later on it became women and black and Latinos and LGBT, all men are created equal. And they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, amongst which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What a great philosophy. So how come it's good for them, but it's not good for us? How come it's good for them, but it's not good for us? Or are we not endowed by our Creator with the right to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Because I'm telling you something, when that control board comes over and takes the retirement money of our retirees and pays the hedge fund, our retirees will not be happy. They will not be able to pursue their happiness. And when they sell, or they try to sell, because we're not going to let them sell, a piece of our land, what are we going to do then? What are we prepared to do? Are we prepared to pick up the phone and call your state legislator and your state representative and your U.S. congressman or congresswoman and say, look, what you're doing in Puerto Rico isn't fair? Are we prepared to raise our hand in a town hall meeting and say, look, Mrs. Cleveland, look, Mr. Trump? Oh, God. Well, that's okay. Free Oscar Lopez Rivera. Now. Free now, vote later. Are we prepared to march in Chicago, in Orlando, in New York, to raise awareness for what is going on here? Are we prepared to love those that in Puerto Rico do not think that this is a bad idea? I am the great-granddaughter of a man that cut cane en la Mónica Central. Se ganaba 50 centavos al día por cortar caña de las 6 de la mañana a las 6 de la tarde. Y no le pagaban, le daban un bar para ir a la tienda de la Mónica Central, donde las cosas le costaban mucho más que eso. Yo soy la nieta de una mujer que se puso su primer par de zapatos el día que mi papá se graduó del 6º grado. Que en el 1945 fue a Nueva York a estudiar una maestría en NYU y luego terapia física en Columbia University, y que trabajaba en una cafetería por la noche para que mi papá comiera en esa cafetería de día. Pero no importa cómo usted ame, a quién ame, no importa el color de la piel, no importa si usted se ve blanco, pero en realidad es negro. No importa el partido político al que usted pertenezca. La justicia es la justicia y la injusticia es la injusticia, y la Junta de Control Fiscal es injusta, es opresiva, es colonialista y es abusadora. Punto. There were people that said that it was okay to keep slaves. There were people that said that it was okay for women not to vote. There were people that said that it was okay for children with disabilities not to be educated. But your heart tells you what you know to be right or wrong. So the one thing that we need and continue to need is your solidarity, is your voice, is to make your voice the echo of our voice, is to make your fight the echo of our fight. Because sometimes when you're in a storm, you can't see your way out. Porque yo sé, porque he vivido 12 años en Estados Unidos, que es cierto que se escucha en el interior de esas noches frías de invierno, mamá Borinquen me llama, este país no es el mío. Borinquen es pura flama y aquí me muero de frío. siempre que vivan puertorriqueños en cualquier parte del mundo, pero sobre todo en Estados Unidos, los puertorriqueños estaremos incompletos en Puerto Rico. Y siempre que viva un puertorriqueño en Puerto Rico y que no encuentre apoyo en aquellos de ustedes que viven en otros lugares, estaremos incompletos aquí. Tenemos la oportunidad de demostrarle al mundo que el océano no impide las grandes alianzas. San Juan es la capital de Puerto Rico, es la capital del Caribe. No importa si usted vive en el Bronx, o en New Jersey, o en Long Island, esta es su capital. Porque este es su país. Este es su patria. Y yo tengo que defender el derecho de aquellos sanjuaneros que son estadistas de buscar la estadidad, aunque no coincida conmigo. Y tengo que defender el derecho de los que creen en el ERA a defenderlo. Y tengo que defender el derecho de los que somos soberanistas, en cualquiera de sus acepciones, a defender la búsqueda de la soberanía. Ese es mi trabajo como alcaldesa. Ese es mi trabajo. No es defender a los que creen como yo, es precisamente darle voz a los que no creen como yo. Eso es difícil y hay días que duele y pesa mucho más que otros. But we need you. We need you to fight with us. We need you to resist with us. Because we are in the fight of our life. There will be civil disobedience in Puerto Rico. There will be civil disobedience in the United States. There will be phone calls, there will be marches, there will be picket lines, there will be vigils. And we need you. Because if you don't help us, what will that make you? What will that make you? If you stare in the eyes of injustice and do nothing, what does that make you? Now, I am probably one of the few that think not everything is just. Yo soy miembro de una coalición de un frente amplio contra la Junta de Control Fiscal y el municipio de San Juan Mayor. Ana Irma es una de las portavoces de esa coalición. Esta es una batalla como la de Pieles, que trasciende líneas ideológicas. De hecho, el gobernador García Padilla está a favor de la unidad. Yo estoy en contra de la unidad. Y en San Juan, miembros de los tres partidos políticos de la Asamblea Municipal, del Partido Independentista, del Partido Nuevo Progresista y del Partido Popular, han indicado su repudio a la Junta de Control. So this is not a party issue. This is a public policy issue. And the best politics is the one that has nothing to do with parties. Eso nos divide. So I humbly ask you not to forget and to help us push on. So that when one of us falls, there's one of you to take our place. So that when one of you stand up, there's one of us to cover your back. This is truly a nation divided by an ocean. and they don't respect us here, they're not going to respect you here. They may allow you to sit at the table. Do you want to sit at the table because of your worth? Or do you want to sit at the table because of people? One last thing that I would like to tell you is let's not confuse the issue with the plight of the American people. I lived in the United States for 12 years. I was educated in the United States. I gave birth in the United States. I know generous people that with open arms welcome the diversity that is amongst them. This is not an anti-American effort. I submit to you that, au contraire, mon ami, this is specifically in line with the most valued and high concepts of the American nation. You work hard, you should get your reward. You should be respected in your diversity. All men and women and Latinos and Puerto Ricans and Asians and Native Americans and Black Americans and LGBT team members are created equal. So whatever you do while you're here, enjoy your country. And whatever you do when you go back, do not forget your country. Because we will never forget. Thank you.